It's time for Losses Above Replacement, the best baseball podcast to grace your ears, with your hosts, Alex.
Gosh, I have so many questions. Also, where's my car?
Splash.
Strive to love something as much as my grandmother loves buying new crock pots.
And Mac.
If you've ever been to Boston, you know that they have amazing ice cream.
Coming to you from coast to coast, it's L.A.R.
In 1941, San Jose State traveled by boat to Hawaii to play 2 postseason bowl games. Pearl Harbor was hit on December 7th, and the games were never played. Several Spartan players helped in recovery efforts, helping the injured and even delivering babies. Some stayed in Hawaii full-time to assist in the war. It's a wonderful story and a testament to how football teaches positive lessons and that some things are bigger than football. In 2025, Notre Dame was also invited to a bowl game, and they didn't play in one because they didn't really feel like it. Welcome into Losses Above Replacement, the greatest baseball podcast to grace your ears, not a college football podcast, although I will have some takes at the end, so stay tuned for the end. As always, I'm joined by Mac and Alex. How are we doing, pals?
It's very rainy over here. Thankfully, I'm in kind of this little bubble where it's not flooding, but please shout outs for the people that not so lucky right now that there is massive flooding over here in the Great Northwest.
It's not. Oh, actually, it's raining tonight here, but it's just cold, really, really cold. Got back from Denver on Saturday night. My first experience with any type of snow. Not that it was actually snowing while I was there, but there was already snow and ice on the ground. I helped my sister move back to New York, so she's back. It is my dad's birthday today, but of course my parents are not here. They are in Atlanta for my brother's graduation from Georgia Tech. Or he already has his degree, but he's actually walking, I think, tomorrow. I'm not there because they're only really there for a day. So I went to Colorado, came back, and my sister and I are staying at home. In the meantime, we brought our cat home. I flew with a cat for the first time. Very interesting experience. She actually did well, I think, because my sister gave her some medicine before that kind of knocked her out. So that was interesting. Baseball's been rough the last 2 days. If you ask anyone who's a Mets fan, kind of weird seeing 2 fan favorites leave. But yeah, I'd say other than that, I'm doing all right. Did not hurt my back too badly moving furniture and stuff and lifting heavy items over the weekend. So that's good. But yeah, trying to hang in there. I might be racing this weekend. I might not. I'll let my body kind of dictate that. But yeah, I'm doing all right.
Fair enough.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Question for the chat. If you are called Pipsqueak, does that give you the ability to swing on someone? Just let us know in the comments. Say yes or no.
Good question.
Yeah. Or Squirt. I don't know.
I'm probably just leaving at that point.
Yeah, same.
Anyways, we are going to talk about not a polar bear in Arlington, but a polar bear in Baltimore. The big news of today, we're recording this Wednesday, December 10th. Pete Alonso, the polar bear, signs a 5-year, $155 million deal with the Baltimore Orioles, taking him out of Queens and putting him in what Jeff Passan described as one of the best lineups in baseball. I don't know what kind of crack Passan is currently snorting, but whatever. Fellas, I will start with Alex. Mac, we will wait with bated breath for your explanation. Alex, polar bear to Baltimore, for thoughts?
When the Passan bomb reached my phone, I was completely shocked. I mean, those of you that watched our episode with the free agent draft, make sure you go watch it again here on Spotify or on YouTube. No, I picked the polar bear to stay in Queens. And, well, that didn't happen. But legitimately, Baltimore was nowhere near on my radar. Like, that's the big takeaway here for me was, why did Baltimore give him this kind of deal? Like, yes, he's a good player. Yes, he's worth it. But right now, Baltimore is in one of the weirdest spots because it feels like it doesn't matter how good you do at that point with how stacked that division is. Here, you have the Red Sox, you have the Yankees, you have the Blue Jays, who, by the way, made it to the World Series last year. I don't think adding a first baseman really increases your chances of making the playoffs all that much. Like, is this a move that is maybe designed to put it up forward, the team forward a little bit more? Yeah. I mean, obviously it is. Pete Alonso is a great first baseman. Hitting wise, defensively is not amazing, but he's better than a log just standing there. But I think I'm just confused by the signing. Honestly, that's my entire takeaway, is that I'm confused. This is a good signing on the idea of, you could say they needed a first baseman, but they need a lot of other things, like starting pitching. If Kyle Bradish and Dean Kremer are your 2-3 right now on open, is like at breaking camp, your starting rotation is just cheeks. It is bad here, and your relief core is, it's okay here with signing Helsley. I think Helsley is going to have at least a little bit of a bounce back here, but after this, like, why would you spend the money on Alonso when you have so much other areas? And then on top of it, if you're Alonso, why are you signing in Baltimore? If your idea is to get a championship, it's not going to be with Baltimore. If your idea was to get the most money, why was Baltimore the team paying you the most here on this? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense any way you look at it here. And good for Pete. He's getting a nice little payday here. But in Mets history, he's the home run leader. Why, after the news of not getting back Edwin Diaz, do you not double down, at the very least keep your hometown guy in Pete Alonso, who, by the way, here was not really regressing either. He's, as a power hitting first baseman, he's still about as good as they come. Here, I think I could maybe name only a couple first basemen that maybe have more power than him. And even that, it's debatable. Like, the first one that comes to my mind at that point is Bryce Harper. But even then, I think on an outright strength scale, I think I still take Alonso. So, I don't know. This just feels like a move where none of the moving parts are moving because of one another. They're just a bunch of individual gears being spun.
Yeah, so here's my take, and I'm going to explain from both sides. From the Orioles' perspective, not really sure what the move is here, but we're going to talk about this later. But they did offer Kyle Schwarber 5 years and $150 million, so clearly they were in the market for a bat. I don't know if Alonso will be playing first base or DH. Personally, he should not be playing a lot of first base. He just turned 31, and he really is on an athletic decline. His range has never been particularly good, but he was one of the worst defensive first basemen in baseball this year. -9 outs above average. He's always had trouble throwing the bases. He injured Kodai Senga on a bad throw, and that kind of sent the Mets season in a downward spiral. So really, what I'm saying here is Alonso should be a DH. From the Mets perspective, I understand why you didn't want to give him 5 years and $155 million. This guy he's basically a 3-WAR player about every year. And I would not say you pay a 3-WAR player $31 million annually. He actually got more money than Kyle Schwarber, if you wouldn't believe it. And Schwarber is a guy who hit 187 home runs over the last 4 years. But what I will say is that David Stearns has to have some type of contingency plan, because Alonso still had a 141 WRC plus this year. There's nobody on the market right now that has that at least at first base will come close to a 141 WRC plus. I'm just going to say that right there. Your replacement options internally, Mark Vientos, Ryan Clifford. Vientos should not be playing first base. Shouldn't be playing the field. And his bat took a major step back. Clifford probably isn't ready yet. Needs a little more time. Maybe you sign a stopgap guy. Maybe you trade for Wilson Contreras or Yandy Diaz. It's been a rough 48 hours for Mets fans. It's honestly kind of dark, but and I mean, obviously, we haven't even touched on Edwin Diaz yet, but this is sort of David Stearns admitting that this team was not good enough and it needed changes. So, yes, they treated Nimmo. I understood trading Nimmo. He's on a decline. He had a foot problem. But then that you lose your two free agents who, I mean, I think the fan base was expecting them to at least retain one of them, and they ended up retaining neither. So it was weird. I fully expected Alonso to sign with the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox are in a much better position right now, but it's weird. It's going to be weird seeing Alonso play in a different uniform, but honestly, I'm happy for him. He did get the bag that he wanted, so good for him.
Usually I'm the one that comes in with the measured takes, and I back it up with stats and logic and whatnot. This just angers me. I know I'm supposed to root against the Mets and root against their endeavors and root for all of their players to go 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. I know, or 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. I get it. But as a fan of baseball, as a fan of baseball history, it stinks when one team players leave. Alonso has spent 7 years in New York. As I've mentioned, as I put up on the screen, he's the all-time home run leader for the Mets. As we've discussed previously, the Mets really have a lack of one-team players. It's David Wright and Ed Kranepool, and this offseason they traded Brandon Nimmo, who was also a lifelong Met at the time, and now Pete Alonso is going to be wearing a different shade of orange, and that just stinks.
Yeah,
we can talk about the flaws Alonso has as a baseball player. We can pop up the Baseball Savant page. We can complain about the strikeouts sometimes. We can complain about the batting average sometimes. He's not a good base runner. I get it. But at the end of the day, he's a player who has a reasonable shot at hitting 500 home runs. That will be questioned when you are trying to scale Mount Baltimore now, although
they moved it back, though. They moved it back in.
They like to do the whole snip, snap with it. So maybe that'll help Alonso. I will say Oriole Park is a little bit easier to hit in than Citi Field. So congratulations. Your other production will be better. You also get Yankee Stadium more often. You get Fenway Park more often. You get Rogers Center. Some exciting places to hit. But as a baseball fan, this stinks. As a baseball fan, you want to see, at least I want to see, when I go on a baseball reference page, I want to see all of it with one team, with one, in this case, NYM. In other teams' cases, you have your own initials there. But this stinks. From a baseball standpoint, I think this is the smart thing to do if you're the Mets. They can figure out what to do to replace Alonso, and not to be a Moneyball guy, but you can kind of try to replace Alonso's production in the aggregate. Like, the power in itself will be difficult to replace, but you can send that $31 million annually to other positions. You can have a stopgap at first base and maybe upgrade an outfield spot. That's right now McNeil, Carson Bengi, and Juan Soto. Obviously, you're not going to upgrade over Soto, but point stands. Like, maybe you bring in a DH. You bring in one of these free agents that are on the market. Ryan O'Hearn was an all-star last year, a pretty solid hitter. He's not Alonso. You're not asking him to be Alonso. He's going to be much cheaper than Alonso. Maybe this helps build out the bullpen that Edwin Diaz is gone, but you have Devin Williams, and you can go get another high leverage arm. Maybe you go pursue an Alex Bregman or a Eugenio Suarez, who are both on the market, although they would fetch larger contracts, but they have more defensive versatility and that they're higher up the defensive scale. Maybe you go after Kyle Tucker and you have a long-term partnership in the outfield with Soto and Tucker. Or there's a variety of other moves you can make. By far the funniest if you sign Marcelo Zuna, but I digress.
I'll pass.
But there's lots of, several. There's several free agent relievers. Robert Suarez is the world, Hunter Harvey, Pete Fairbanks. Maybe you pursue one of those guys. And As a baseball fan, this hurts. As a Braves fan, I'm glad I don't have to see Alonso, but 3 times a year for the foreseeable future. But I don't know. It is going to stink not going up against Pete and Nimmo now.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing is that all I'm going to allude to Diaz here though for a bit, because the Diaz signing for some reason hurts infinitely more. And actually, no, for some reason it's because he signed with the Dodgers. That's why it hurts more. Here's the thing: is that the Mets couldn't even get a formal offer to Alonso because it was clear they had their line drawn. 3 years, they were not going to go beyond that. It was obvious he wanted more. He was going to get more elsewhere. So he gets his 5 years from Baltimore. The thing that hurts about Diaz here is that they did give him an offer. 3 years, $66 million with some deferrals. They said, we have wiggle room here to improve our offer. He gets 3 years, $69 million from the Dodgers and just signs it. Didn't even give the Mets a chance to respond. What this tells me is that Diaz just wanted to be on the Dodgers. And yes, Alexis Diaz did briefly play for the Dodgers this year, but like I said, he briefly played there. So how much did that actually play into that? I mean, here's the thing is that we're going to talk about all these moves that teams made. I don't know how anyone can stop the Dodgers. They've literally built a Death Star and they keep adding to it. I mean, here's the thing is that the last 2 years, the Dodgers have won the World Series. The bullpen has been their biggest weakness each time. This year, they paid $40 million to Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates, and Blake Trinan. All 3 of those guys had bad years. 2 of those guys weren't even on the playoff roster. Then they go out and get the best closer in baseball. I mean, it's absurd. I don't even want to say, because I don't know, someone threw out there like, oh, it's like Kevin Durant, burning the thunder for the Warriors. Not quite, because it's unfair to compare Edwin Diaz to Kevin Durant, but it's kind of wild. And the thing is, the whole time I had a feeling if Edwin Diaz leaves New York, he's 100% going to the Dodgers. And of course, he goes right to the Dodgers. So while I say it hurts seeing Alonso not being on the Mets, 100 times more, it hurts to see Diaz be a Dodger. Now, I think Diaz is easier to replace than Alonso, but it's just the fact that he's going to be in the National League, going to the 2-time defending world champions, who with a pending lockout on the way. I'm stunned. Not really, actually, because it felt like I felt it coming, but I wasn't expecting it to happen so quickly. And David Stearns has a steep hill to climb here.
This move, I don't want to say it felt inevitable here because none of us wanted this.
Literally nobody in baseball wanted to see this. Not even like NL East fans.
I mean, Dodger fans wanted to see this because...
Okay, yeah, but outside of them.
I know, absolutely. But, here's the thing, right? You brought up a very important point. I kind of want to elaborate more on here. Is that he did not take another even look at the Mets here once he got the offer from the Dodgers here. And I get it. I would be... I'd be remiss to say that I don't understand here. I mean, you take a look at baseball right now, right? And if your goal is to win a championship, if your goal is to win a World Series, you take a look at the teams in Major League Baseball and one stands out. The current reigning World Series champions who just keep getting better and better and better here. And yes, 2-time, reigning champions. Still hurts to say that too. But, man, this is... I love Edwin Diaz. I really do. Remember, he was a Mariner for first bit of his career here. He was amazing. Really that's where he got the nickname Sugar Diaz here, because he was so sweet. He was the Mariners, I think, save leader for the longest time. For a while, and then I think now
he's their single season leader still.
Single season.
57. I mean,
yeah, that season. By the way, still again, the moment of Edwin Diaz shaving the head of Scott Service is still one of my favorite baseball memories of all time. Absolutely great. But you knew that the moment he did not sign with the Mets, it was going to be the Dodgers. And it just hurts to see because you know that they're just getting better and better. And logistically for the Dodgers, makes sense. What was your biggest weakness last year? Oh, I don't know. Something called the bullpen, especially late end bullpen. Oh, you have the best closer in baseball here that is now available on the market. And he wants to play for us. Go ahead and sign him. It's not that hard here. And again, right now what we're seeing is I don't even want to say the rebirth because it's been going on for a little bit, the readolescence of the MLB show, the show team in real life here. That's what the Dodgers are and have been for the last couple of years here. They took like a break for like a year where, the user just decided to hit auto sim because I just want to get a little farther in the future. But right now we are seeing it in full effect again. And you brought up a great analogy here. This team is the Death Star. They are not the good guys. They are the bad guys again. And if I have to sit through another Yankees-Dodgers World Series, what's worse here? Do you want to see do you want to see a team of killer wasps win or a team of literal trash cans win? There's only bad sides in this one. And again, like I said, logically it makes sense. All of it makes sense. But emotionally, doesn't it feel like just another knife to the gut?
One, I am curious if Edwin Diaz can make a run at the saves record. It's 62 by K-Rod in 2008. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. This is one of those things that annoys me as a baseball fan because the Braves, for example, are the number 4 team by odds in the National League. They're 10-1. The Mets are third. They are 6.5 to 1. The Phillies are second. Possible. They are 5 to 1. The Los Angeles Dodgers, if you go on FanDuel, are plus 140 to win the National League. It is not even opening day, and they have about a 40% chance based on the odds to win the league. And they are about they're shorter than 3 to 1 to win the World Series. So in a bet, the Dodgers versus the National League field, you are only getting minus 160 odds on the National League field. And, to the Dodgers' credit, they are trying to win. The other teams in Major League Baseball, you can kind of question if they're trying to win. And it's a case that the Dodgers have the best of both worlds, right? If you think that the polar opposites in Major League Baseball, how you spend, are the Steinbrenner Yankees and the Moneyball A's. If you think of them as total opposites, the Steinbrenner Yankees could just throw money at the problem. Steinbrenner tried to trade every single draft pick. He got banned from baseball. So that's what replenishes the farm, gets the Jeters of the world, the Mariano Riveras of the world, builds the dynasty, right? They just tried to throw money at every single problem. Randy Johnson comes in at 40. Roger Clemens comes in his late 30s and 40s. Alex Rodriguez, you extend him on the big contract. They had so much money in MLB Power Pro's 2008 salary that you could not physically do a season with the Yankees. If you won the World Series, did everything right, went 162-0, you would still be in the red because their salary was over twice the amount of points you started with.
Even with all the extra bonuses you could get.
Yes, even if you won the World Series and started on maximum points, you would still be cooked. You'd have to trade away A-Rod, basically. You have to trade away half the team. And then you contrast that with the A's. The below 50 feet of crap A's that spent nothing and were trying to build through the aggregate and yada, 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 yada. And did the on base and the not caring as much about defense and base running. And they look around the edges. Well, the Dodgers say, why not both? They can throw money at their problems, but they spend money efficiently at their problems. And yes, they kind of burned through their entire bullpen last year. They lit it on fire in a lot of ways. That they signed Kirby Yates, didn't work. Trinan didn't work. The other
Tanner
dude,
Scott.
Tanner Scott didn't work. Okay, That's fine, but so many of their other investments paid off that Yoshinobu Yamamoto is the highest paid pitcher in the history of the sport, and it's a bargain. Shohei Ohtani is the highest paid player in the history of American professional sports. Well, it's a bargain.
Well, they signed Soto, but yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, fair enough. They signed Freddie Freeman. It ends up being a bargain contract. Mookie Betts, it's a different shape of the performance than you wanted from his mega contract, but he's a Gold Glove level shortstop now, and an integral part to why you've won back-to-back World Series and in the Betts tenure 3 World Series. So they can not only throw money at the problems, but they have an incredible infrastructure top down the organization that their minor league teams are better than yours. Their facilities are better than yours. They are going to lengths. I mentioned this before. They installed Japanese style bidets in their locker room. They tore up concrete in the locker room just to appease to Roki Sasaki, who makes the major league minimum, who for half the season was in Oklahoma City. Consider that. When your team doesn't spend, it's not that they don't spend on the major league roster, because they don't. It's that they don't spend adequately at the minor league level. They don't spend on coaches. They don't spend around the margins. They don't spend in the non-salary cap. Well, okay, non-luxury tax world, right? Look at the Angels, the crosstown rivals. The Angels are skimping at the minor league level. Now they have, I've talked about it before, they have the Salt Lake problem and the Rocket City problem that you can't really gauge their minor leaguers anyways. But the Dodgers invest into every aspect of having a baseball team. Edwin Diaz is just a cherry on top of their perfectly defined wedding tier cake. And yeah, it sucks for baseball in a way that it looks like the Dodgers are going to win their 3rd consecutive World Series, but at least the Dodgers do it right on every level. They commit at the minor league level. It feels like they always have a top prospect. The ones that don't pan out, they ship them off and they bring in star players. The ones that do pan out, the Will Smiths. Clayton Kershaw is a long time ago, but Kershaw's a lifelong Dodger. Will Smith is a lifelong Dodger. Andy Pages had an awesome season. You know, when Alex was saying, well, the problem is the bullpen, my first thought was, well, I didn't really think the outfield was that good. And then I thought, oh yeah, Pages had like a 4.5 WAR season just out of the blue. And they just have an incredible way of the infrastructure, the scaffold of the team is so sound that you take the Yankees scaffold of spending all the money, the evil empire Yankees, and you take the spackle of the Moneyball A's and you combine it, and it's a rock solid foundation. And there's a reason the Dodgers are always winning 100 games. And even in a down year like this year, they only won like 95 games. Like, the Dodgers are always going to be good. They are always going to have like a 60% chance to win any given game. And in a game as tough as baseball, I got to give them props. They have almost foolproof their way into making playoff runs. Now, you have the playoff chokes in 22 and 23, and I get that. Part of that's just the nature of a 5-game series or of a 7-game series, but they have given themselves the best chance to win, not only at the major league level, but at the minor league level, on the coaching level, and even down to the bathrooms.
I'll say to sort of put an end on this segment, I'll say as much as that for a while, Major League Baseball didn't really have a parity issue because we went 25 years without a repeat World Series winner. And look, I'm not trying to actually say the Dodgers are necessarily completely ruining baseball because, yeah, you can sort of question, you know, how some teams or how much effort some teams are putting into their, you know, roster. But all of a sudden, we might be running into this parity issue. It looks like the Dodgers are probably going to three-peat. Realistically, if there's a 2027 season, I don't know if anyone would stop them in 2027. You know, we're looking at a dynasty right here. I think it's fair to say that. You know, this is a team that I saw someone compare like what they did or you know, show how they operated before they acquired Mookie Betts and then since then. And, you know, the reality is they made like one big free agency signing before Mookie. It was Zach Greinke. The thing is, when they got Mookie Betts, they had Corey Seager, they had Cody Bellinger, They had turned Justin Turner and Max Muncy into all-stars. They had a foundation already. And then they go out and trade for Mookie Betts. Then they start spending. They sign Freddie Freeman. They sign Shohei Ohtani. They sign Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Now everyone's signing with the Dodgers. And I guess it says a lot about the organization. They keep winning. People want to win. But it's going to get tiring. Everyone got tired of the Yankees. The core 4 years, they had the year where the 2009 where they signed Teixeira and Sabathia and Burnett and trade for Nick Swisher. But it's going to get exhausting. I mean, the league fan bases, the 29 other fan bases are already exhausted with the Dodgers. And I mean, I don't even know when the next time the Dodgers won't win the World Series is.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of weird about the game right now. Because on top of it, right, we have a similar kind of conversation right now with the MVPs here, right? Like, with a healthy Ohtani, can anyone else in the NL win it? Even Soto here. In the American League, we just saw the greatest season in the history of baseball for a catcher here that led the league in home runs. Yeah, this is the greatest catcher season, at the very least, in my opinion, here. And still did not win the MVP. It was close, but did not. Right now, we have such a lack of parity in baseball right now, where it feels like everything is predetermined because there are some just complete outlier factors right now. The Dodgers are an outlier when it comes to their skill level here. When you have a starting rotation that has multiple Cy Young Award winners here, and you have also, not to mention, the best overall baseball player in the game, the most valuable baseball player in the game here, and then on top of it, you add Mookie Betts, you add guys like Freddie Freeman, Yoshinobu Yamamoto here. You have all of these guys here, and now you add Edwin Diaz to that mix. It doesn't feel fair. It really doesn't. And I understand, the whole idea of it's not meant to be fair. It's meant to be a business, and the Dodgers are currently paying to be the leaders of that business. As a fan of the game, it just sucks. Because at that point, you don't even really want to see the Dodgers either, because it's like, okay, why bother? Right? Why bother if they're just going to steamroll you? They're not this unassailable thing that you're like, oh, I feel the need to go and, test my skill against them. No, you're just like, okay, I guess. That's what the Dodgers feel like in this.
So I do want to, for the record, the Dodgers now only have one Cy Young winner with Kershaw retiring.
Oh, yeah, that's
two. Although Yamamoto with winning World Series MVP, you might as well give him 17 honorary Cy Youngs after that performance.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a little bit of pushback with the parody. We were on a stream. The Blue Jays were an out away from winning the World Series.
It's true, yeah.
So, as much as the Dodgers have seemingly stacked the deck, it's not like 51 black cards and one red card. It's like 20, maybe 30 black cards and 22 red cards. That, yeah, the Dodgers are probably going to win, but it's still baseball. And even, like I said, the 60% chance of winning, like the chances they win back-to-back games, if you assume a 60% win probability, that's only 36%, right? And I'm not going to calculate the odds of winning 4 out of 7 games off the top of my head right now, but it's not a foregone conclusion's the wrong way to put it. Like I think there are teams that can compete with the Dodgers, even in the National League. I think there are still talented teams. Like we saw the Braves a couple years ago win 104 games. I don't know if that Braves team will ever come back, but one can dare to dream. On Fangraphs, the Dodgers don't have the number one lineup. It actually belongs to the Yankees. And if you go position by position, maybe you can make an argument for that. The Dodgers have a little bit more. Well, it's hard to say they have more star power when the Yankees do, in fact, have Aaron Judge. But fair enough. That could be a conversation. Maybe I don't necessarily believe in Passan saying the Orioles are in that class, but
no, they are not. Yeah.
The Mets, if
Nope.
if they add a first baseman, I think they could be in the conversation. And whoever adds Kyle Tucker is also in that conversation. If he goes back to the Astros, they could be in the conversation. If he breaks Alex's heart and goes to the Mariners, they could be in that conversation. Goes to Toronto or the Mets or heaven forbid the Orioles, then we're having different conversations there. And even the pitching with the Dodgers, like Fangraphs does have the Dodgers number one, but the Red Sox and Phillies are within a win and a half, and the Tigers are within striking distance enough, but they're probably going to trade Scooble to the Dodgers and ruin baseball for everyone. So there's that. And for what it's worth, the Dodgers have 5 extra wins above replacement above every other team, according to Fangraph's step chart projections. So that's not exactly ideal. The gap 5.1 between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays, that is as big as the gap between the Dodgers and the Tigers. The Tigers are in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th place. So the difference between number 1 and number 2 is the same size as number 2 and number 10. That's not ideal, but I think the Dodgers can be competed with. Am I picking them to win the World Series? Yes. Is it a foregone conclusion? I don't think so.
I don't think it's a foregone conclusion here from this, but I feel like it's a lot bigger of a gap than you're making it out to be.
Oh, no, sure. They're the biggest favorites in my time as a baseball fan. Even over the 09 Yankees, that like when you see teams go back to back or try to go back to back, they're never like 3-1 favorites, like maybe like 8-1. Like even last year, the Dodgers going back to back, and now the Braves equity kind of cut into that because a lot of people, even the betting markets, thought the Braves were a near equivalent to the Dodgers, but it's like a 6-1 thing. Now it's 3-1. Like there's a lot of years that you couldn't even get a team at 3-1 even during the playoffs, let alone trying to win the World Series from opening day. So like there is a gap. The Dodgers are clearly the best team, but I don't think it's like a 90-10 thing. I think it's like a 60-40. Like, do they win a game? 60%, sure. 65%, sure. And over time, yes, they're going to win more games. But as we've seen with analytics, it's each outcome matters. Like over the long haul, if you simmed the season 1,000 times, the Dodgers are the most likely team to win the World Series. That doesn't mean they win it every time, and that doesn't mean they're guaranteed or anything, but they're the most likely outcome, I think.
Okay, yeah. Here's my thing with it is that I also don't even think it's 60-10. I think it's farther than that. And my reasoning for this here on top of it is, let's start at the starting rotation. Okay? Let's just start there for sake of ease here. We make such a big deal about how when you have your ace on the mound here, you need to win the game, right? You have your best chance of winning the game, right? Like that's fair to say for a lot of teams, especially. You take a look at the Dodgers, and they have a rotation right now that is Blake Snell, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, Shohei Ohtani, and then a fifth. Here, it could be Roki if they decide to move him back to the starting rotation, or I think he might just be more fun as a reliever. But I think now with signing Edwin Diaz, now you expect him to be a starter again. Here, every one of those names is ones that you would like if you're an opposing team here and you heard that name, you circle that day on the calendar because you know you're gonna have a fight that day. The Dodgers had that for every single one. Now scroll down just a little bit here, Splash. Just take a look at that bullpen here, which was the weakest part of them last year. You now have guys here like the best closer in baseball, Edwin Diaz, Tanner Scott, one of the best lefty relievers in all of baseball, Alex Vesia, who absolutely played out of his mind this year. And again, condolences to the family. Not going to talk about that at all here. Wish we could have seen him in the World Series more. But you take a look at this team and you do not see a weakness anymore. Now you go to the starting lineup here and to the bench and to all of this, and it just feels like at every single point they have outmatched almost every team. I'm not even going to put out I don't even think the Yankees are anywhere near power-wise. Yes, you have Judge. Good job. Don't care. He is one man in a 26-man game. He is one man on a starting 9 here that you have to go up against here. And yes, the Yankees are good. They are not the number 1 team here. You go over the course of their bits here. Let's go position by position. Why not? Let's have a little bit of fun. Who are you taking between Austin Wells and Will Smith?
I think that's a lot. That's a lot closer of a conversation than one can think of. But I would.
I'm aware. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like Austin Wells, I like him. I think he's a good player. Here,
Drop catcher, baby.
Yeah, I think that he still has a ways to go. And you take Will Smith. Go to first base here. Ben Rice versus Freddie Freeman. I'm taking Freddie Freeman every day of the week. Second base here. I'll give that one to the Yankees.
Whoa.
Hang on. I actually think Ben Rice is a pretty good player.
Yeah.
And that Freddie Freeman is 36.
I'm going to pull up the baseball savant. Let me pull up the baseball savant.
Yeah, but at the same time, still Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, no, Freeman is still better, but I think
Rice amazing.
Rice is closing the gap here.
Look at this. I don't know, man.
Every time I've watched him play, he has come up batting like 120. Like,
well,
dude's not okay. If
that's just modern.
Then I want to see a full season of it.
Okay, fair enough. Whatever.
So anyway, from that, I'll give the Yankees a second base because the Dodgers have had troubles at second base, and shortstop has been Mookie Betts. But I still have a feeling he's going to go back to the outfield then. Anthony Volpe or Mookie Betts. We're not going to even entertain that one.
Marcus Lynn Betts.
Marcus Lynn Betts. Anyway, third base, Ryan McMahon versus who's the third baseman right now?
Muncy.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm gonna say that one's a little closer, but Muncy's still better. I mean, it's weird. They have different shapes of production. Like McMahon is really good defensively, and Muncy's kind of fallen off defensively. Yeah.
But Muncy's, I guess, on the aggregate, a more productive hitter, but he's also a 3-true outcome guy, so it's some big ebbs and flows.
Right. And then you get to the outfield here, which is where I think this all kind of gets a little bit interesting here. So right now, what is the outfield for the Dodgers at this exact moment? If we are assuming that Mookie Betts is a shortstop in this world.
Probably so it would be Teoscar, Pages, and not Edmund, the other one.
Edmund does play some center. Hernandez is hurt right now. Kike Hernandez is hurt.
Yeah, so Fangraphs has Pages, Edmund, and Teoscar.
Okay, so now we take that, and this is where I will give the Yankees the advantage. I think that Aaron Judge obviously is one of the best players in all of baseball. Yep, and he accounts for multiple players. You take a look at the WAR. Obviously, it's 6.5. What are we doing here? Trent Grisham, I think, is a good player. But if you get another year of what Andy Pages did this year, he overtakes that. Then Jason Dominguez here is also a decent player here, a solid player. But again, now you're getting into the semantics of who, again, a kind of like second, third tier left fielder for both sides here on this. Because Teo, I think, is good, but also fielding, no. Fielding so much.
Like, I would take the Yankees outfield, but that's a Judge equation more than a.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, you could argue the Dodgers are like 2, 3, 4, but number one is such a gap. And Grisham had a good year last year, although he's forgotten how to defend center field. So I don't know what to make of that, but whatever.
Yeah, that feels weird. And then DHing.
DH is obviously,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So
although, if there's any player I want to go on a heater and could match Ohtani for like a month, Giancarlo Stanton.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Absolutely can.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely can. But that's what I'm saying right now. You look at it just top to bottom, it is not close. I'm sorry to anyone that thinks differently on that. Here on this, I will say, yes, Ben Rice is a good player, but I still take Freddie Freeman. I look at this and it does not feel fair. It really does not. I'm trying to I'm sorry, sorry, Jeff Passan. It's not the Orioles here, but
it's definitely not the Orioles.
I can't think of another team that comes even remotely close to matching them like one for one.
Yeah, look, I'll say this much, which is that I think it might be 60-40 in the way that the Dodgers have a 60% chance of winning the World Series, and the rest of the league combined has a 40% chance.
That's what I
think. Okay. Okay, fair enough.
That's the 64 that I'll take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Which
what?
means
I
that in
can't
any
argue that.
regular game, you have the chance of the Dodgers winning as like 75-25.
Okay, maybe 70-30. Do you think the team that signs Kyle Tucker could be in conversations here?
No. Well, I mean, it depends. Is
It
it gonna be
depends.
the Dodgers?
It could be the Blue Jays. It could be honestly the Blue Jays or the Dodgers. It could be either of those
If the
teams.
Dodgers sign Kyle Tucker, the baseball world will die.
Okay.
Well,
Because
yeah,
we
I
will
know,
get into that
but
strike.
unfortunately, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I mean, I think if the Mets were to sign him or the Mariners were to sign him, I think you'd have an argument.
The
Or
Mets have
Yankees,
so
obviously.
many other issues right now beyond
Sure, but
signing Kyle
if they
Tucker.
signed like Ryan O'Hearn and Kyle Tucker, I think that would solve a lot of their problems.
Well, I wouldn't sign both those guys because they already have enough left-handed hitters. But
Fair enough.
I mean, they'll probably. I mean, they do have to sign a couple of guys. But yeah, we'll get there. I'm sure David Stern somewhere in his notebook has some type of plan or in an Excel sheet or something.
Be like that. Well, we're going to talk about another left-handed hitter that has dominated in the playoffs previously, and that is the man, the myth, the legend, the former catcher himself, Kyle Schwarber, signing a 5-year, $150 million deal to return to the Phillies. I will point out, we said earlier that Alonso signed for more money. Schwarber is about 2 years older. He turns 33 in March. Alonso just turned 31 last week or earlier this week. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday. So Kyle Schwarber stays in Philadelphia. I, for one, am outraged. I had like a 1% hope he would leave Philly and go to a different team that needs a designated hitter. But he's back in Philly, and now he can lay waste to the NL East as he had the last few seasons and make a play at 500 home runs and book his ticket to the Hall of Fame. He's at 45 plus in 3 out of 4 seasons as a member of the Phillies. In Philadelphia, he is a whopping 187 home runs in 4 seasons. For those counting at home, that's a lot of home runs. He's driven in 100 runs each of the last 3 seasons. He has at least 100 runs scored in each of the last 3 seasons. And it's just truly absurd production. He's a 134 OPS plus in this span, slugging over 500. Remember, back in 2024, he hit 300 against the lefties. That's still one of the wild things I've ever thought about. And he's a playoff riser. As a member of the Phillies, he's had a 930 OPS with 14 home runs. Yes, with 14 home runs. And it feels like every single one is just a dagger right through your heart and soul. I know because I've been on the receiving end of a couple of them. So, fellas, Kyle Schwarber is back in the city of brotherly love. What are your thoughts?
So, unlike Edwin Diaz, he gave his team a chance to respond. And I'll be honest, I wasn't sure if Schwarber would get a 5-year deal because he's a DH only. That's the thing is that Alonso can occasionally play first base, or he's played a lot of first base. Schwarber's barely played the field the last few years, and that's even with Nick Castellanos in the same outfield. It sounds like Castellanos won't even be on the team next year, so who knows? But it seems like he just was meant to stay in Philly. I had a hard time talking myself into him leaving. I thought maybe there's a slight chance maybe he'd go to Boston, maybe he'd go to Cincinnati because he's from the Cincinnati area and he would love hitting a Great American Ballpark. But it seemed unlikely that he would leave Philadelphia. And the Orioles supposedly offered him 5 years, $150 million. The Phillies matched it, and he chose to stay in Philly. So he's really embraced the city. The city has embraced him. Citizens Bank Ballpark is perfect for him. So yeah, I'm not too surprised at this deal. I'm just curious to see if he can keep that power stroke going. Not necessarily hitting over 50 home runs, but definitely hitting over 40 for the next few years.
So I do want to jump in. 2 quick things. One, the Pirates apparently offered him a 9-figure deal. Good job, Pirates, I guess. And the Reds said...
Hang the banner.
Yeah. The Reds said, we were going after Schwarber because we thought he would drive ticket sales. There are other players on the market that I think can drive ticket sales. Why don't you pursue them?
I also don't like the idea of saying I'm only signing this player because of tickets. It's not you're trying to sign him to win the baseball games.
The baseball games are secondary. It's about making money. Come on, Alex.
I hate how right you are. Anyway, on to Schwarber. I mean, honestly, again, as a non-NL East person, I love this move for them. I feel like this is a move that it really shows that he's enjoyed his time in Philadelphia here, and it gave a really good show here for him to. It was a show of good faith that he is going to do just as well here with the Phillies here. I don't know what it is for me. I have a level of worry about this because I could see Schwarber starting to decline a bit. Do I think it's gonna happen? Not immediately here, but I don't think we're gonna see another 58 home run season this year. I'd be surprised if he even breaks 50. But even then, as a guy that his only real tool is hit bomb good, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, he does that really well. He has really, really perfected that tool. Something about a 5-year deal just feels a little bit wrong to me, just because I have a feeling that by the end of that deal, it's going to become an albatross on this team where, again, I don't think it's going to be like a dramatic downturn, but I think we're going to see steadily less and less homers, worse and worse average, worse and worse slugging.
Yeah, I'll say this much. I think the Phillies' options were give him the 5-year deal or he's not signing. So I think the Phillies simply were like, we are not losing this guy at any cost. So
which I respect.
I agree with you, though. I probably wouldn't have given him a 5-year deal, but I see why the Phillies did it.
So a question for you guys. How many home runs in this next 5 years do you think would be an adequate return on investment?
190.
Say again, sorry.
How many home runs do you think Schwarber will have to hit over the next 5 years to be an adequate return on investment?
I'd say 150. Yeah.
Okay, so about 30 a year.
Yeah,
I say 190. I mean, you look at what he's done. Like I said, I'm not expecting him to hit 50 homers every year, but I mean, I'd like to see. I mean, if you're the Phillies, you want to see him at least get around 40 each of the next 3 or so years, and then you could live with 30, 35 in the last 2 years.
Okay, so MLB history, ages 33 to 37, there have been 16 players who have hit 150 or more home runs. Bottom of the list is Dave Kingman. If we cut it off at 190, there's been 7. That's Andres Galarraga, Hank Aaron, Nelson Cruz, Rafael Palmeiro, Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds, and Mark McGwire at a whopping 254. So a couple guys that are a little enhanced there, but then you also have some just really good ball players in there. So I think it's open for Schwarber. So he's 160 home runs away from 500. I think it's entirely on the table. He gets to 500 home runs during this contract.
I agree. Absolutely. I think it's very possible.
Because I'd be 32 a year. And if you say he hits 40 for the next couple of seasons, and then it's just like 25 to 30 in the last couple of seasons, I think that's perfectly adequate. And I do think Schwarber, while yes, he is a 3 true outcomey player, he has shown at times an ability to put the ball in play. Like I said, he hit 300 against lefties in 2024, and he does walk a lot, so that helps. He's drawn 100 walks in each of the last 3 seasons. He has over 400 walks as a Philly. And for what it's worth, the strikeouts were down just a tick. They went from 30% his first 2 years to 28.5 to 27.2. The walk rate has remained pretty stable, and this year he had a huge spike in isolated power. But he hits the ball hard. I think that'll at least maintain for the next few years. And yes, he's a DH only guy, but I think it's more of the David Ortiz mold of being a DH only guy, or an Edgar Martinez mold that, yes, he's a DH only. I get it. That's not exactly ideal, but he's still an uber productive hitter. So it's more than enough to satisfy the $30 million, I think. And yes, he's going to be like a 3, maybe a 4-win player a lot of years. Even this year, he was a 4.7 WAR player, the best of his career. But if he's giving you the production, 100 runs, 100 RBI, 40 home runs, I think it's worthwhile. He's a good clubhouse guy. He means a lot to the city. And I think he's someone you take the risk on, I think. That even if it doesn't work out, you can say he's the kind of guy we want to sign.
Yeah, and I want to be clear. I'm not knocking on the fact that he's a DH at all. My thing is his age. here where he's at that front. Because as a Mariner fan here, I know the importance of a DH. And when you have a solid DH that does their job, that does it well, your team plays better. Like, there is very much a reason why the Phillies with Kyle Schwarber have been one of the better power hitting teams in baseball. Like, that's what he does for a team.
Yep. And, he's a playoff legend and a Philly legend. And I lean on the side of re-signing those guys, especially in a league that doesn't have a salary cap for now. You re-sign those guys. It's hard to find that sort of production. And yes, there's an albatross chance, like you said, Alex, and I think you can live with that. And the Phillies aren't immune to that. They have Bryce Harper on a really long-term deal. They have Trey Turner on a really long-term deal. They are kind of baking in some of these albatross years at the end of these contracts. But if you're in World Series contention every year, and the Phillies, to their credit, have been, like, they've been a consistent playoff team. They went to a World Series. They went to another NLCS. The last couple of years, they've won the division. Or this year, they won the division. At least they're in contention. Like, it's not like you're burning money. Could it be bad when he's age 37? Sure, but I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I feel it.
All right, Alex, I heard through the grapevine that you have trivia. Are we going down to Texas to visit Grapevine?
Oh, I'm not in Texas, though. You're going to have to make another turn somewhere.
Darn it. Are we going to take a left at Albuquerque?
No, if you take a left at Albuquerque from Texas, I think it'll be in Mexico.
So it'll be yellow.
Okay, Breaking Bad. Anyway.
I've gotten so many Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul videos on my YouTube feed.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of Breaking Bad stuff, yeah.
Like, it's like if I did my YouTube rewind again, it would all be, or YouTube Wrapped or whatever, it would all be Breaking Bad now.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So for me, I decided to run back one of our favorite segments of did he play for? Here, I have a list of players.
Let's go.
A special theme to these players. These are current free agents.
Oh, great.
Still available on the market here. So I have currently a list of 8 players here and a team that they may or may not have played for. Here.
Okay.
So, gentlemen, I would like you to what, Splash, you hosted today. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 50.
24.
24? Mac.
32.
It was 24 because my joke is very obvious here. So,
yeah.
Splash.
You know what's funnier than 24?
25.
It's like the Mets not signing Edwin Diaz
and exactly.
Alonso.
Very, very funny.
Anyway,
that was a burn right there.
I don't know how I'm going to recover.
Will he ever be back?
Would you like to go first or second, Splash?
I'll go first.
All right. So your player is Turner.
Okay.
Has he played for the Orioles?
Yes.
He absolutely
has. I believe he came up with the Orioles.
He did. His first year and a half was with the Baltimore Orioles. By the way, if you notice here, I said 8. That means there is a chance for a tie, in which I do have a tiebreaker question.
I was going to ask about that.
No worries. Hey, I thought of things.
All
right, Mac, on to you. Your next player is Adam Frazier. Adam Frazier. Has he played for the Texas Rangers?
No, he is not.
Correct. He has not, although he has played for a number of other teams as well.
Yeah, he's a journeyman.
Yep, that was kind of the point of some of this. All right, Splash, it's back to you now. Your next player is Luis Urias. Has he played for the Red Sox?
I think so, like briefly.
So is that going to be?
Yes, I think Luis Urias has played for the Red Sox.
That is correct. He played for them in 2023. Played in 32 games for them. All right, 2 for 2. Mac, back to you. Your player is Tommy Pham.
Oh.
He played for the Diamondbacks.
Yep, the Mets traded him there. Played the World Series. He's pretty good for them.
He played for the Diamondbacks here, going back into
23.
Yep, 2023, same year as well. All right, Splash, you guys are both 2 for 2. Your next player. I promise I wasn't intending on having so many former Mariners here, but we got Chris Taylor, CT3. Has he ever played for the Rays?
I don't think so. I'm going to say no Chris Taylor on the Rays.
That is correct. He has never played for the Rays. Yeah. Funny enough, after leaving Seattle, he went straight to the Dodgers, in which he was with the team for a long time and then played for the Angels for a grand total of 30 games. All right, 3 for 3. Mac, it's over to you here. Your next player is Frankie Montas.
Oh, God.
Has he played for the White Sox?
Yes, he began his career there.
He did, in fact, begin his career with the White Sox. He had 7 games with them in 2015. All right, 3.
He traded with Simeon?
Yeah, he was straight. Yeah.
I think so. All right. Next is going to be for Splash. You guys are both 3 for 3. Your player is Paul DeYoung.
Oh, God.
Has Paul DeYoung played for Toronto?
I'm going to... I'm going to say no. Paul DeYoung has not played for the Blue Jays.
That is incorrect. In 2023, he one of 4 teams that he was on. Actually, 3 teams that he was on. Here, he played a grand total of 13 games for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Woof.
All right, Mac, your chance to win it right here. And we'll see how this one goes here. Your player is Nestor Cortez.
Oh.
Has he played for the Seattle Mariners?
Oh, did he actually play a major league game for them? Yes.
That is correct. He played in the
go.
infamous 2020 year.
GG's.
GG's. So, Mac, you have the win. Do you guys want to do the tiebreaker just for fun?
Yeah, let's do the tiebreaker
Cool.
question.
So for the tiebreaker, how it's going to work here is you guys just need to tell me the year for this player. There is 1 year that they did not play between the start of their career and now. And I just need you to the first one to tell me the correct year wins. All right?
What?
The player is Mike Tauchman.
2021.
Hey,
Nope. Mac.
what? 2023.
That is incorrect. Mac. Splash, back to you.
2020.
That is incorrect. Back to Mac.
I'm trying to remember what year he began his career.
Wait, Splash, what was your first one you said?
2021.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, Mac, back to you.
When did he come up? Holy. 2022?
Mac, that is correct.
Let's go.
Here, so I'm double checking this because I'm not sure what I don't remember what this is. Maybe one of you guys can tell me what's up here. But according to his thing, it just says did not play Korea.
So
Yeah.
he played in the KBO that year.
Oh, he played in the KBO. Okay. For some reason, I thought he went to war, and I'm like, what?
Yes, he went to war.
That
the
was
world
Ted,
famous-
that was Ted Williams.
Twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
KBO
played
for-
with Anwa, had a 795 OPS,
And then came back to the States.
That
came
makes
back
sense.
to play minor league baseball with the Cubs
All righty.
and
But-
White Sox
Yeah,
in
fair
25.
enough. And Yankees. All right. Matt, congratulations. You are today's winner
Thank you. Thank you.
of Did He Play For? All right, Splash, as the host, back to you.
Sure thing. And we will end today's show with everyone's favorite segment, our time to ourselves, our moment to ourselves. I would like to go first. I have some choice words for college football, please.
Understandable.
Great.
Go for it. I'll count you down.
All right.
Your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
First of all, Jacob Rodriguez should have been a Heisman finalist. He had 11 forced turnovers, 4 interceptions, 7 forced fumbles. He scored 3 touchdowns. He also threw an interception. So, no, it wasn't all perfect, but he is the best defensive player in college football. And for my money, he was the best player, full stop, period, whatever, in college football in 2025. With all due respect to Jeremiah Love, Julian Sayin, I think Mendoza is perfectly fine. I think Diego Pavia is perfectly fine. Number 2, Notre Dame. You're lame. Okay. When I was a kid, bowl games mattered. It was a fun exhibition. Yes, they're there were exhibitions besides the big championship game. And now every game besides the big six are exhibition games. I understand that. The pageantry of college football is what made it special. And in this era of huge conferences, we lose that. And in an era where Notre Dame will opt out of a bowl game, we have lost the plot. We have entirely lost the plot. And I feel for the seniors on the Notre Dame football team. I feel for the families of those seniors. I feel for the seniors that attend Notre Dame as a student, just as a student. They go to the football games. They root on their Irish. Any managers, anyone affiliated with the team, any broadcasters, sports writers, like people that newspaper, whatever it may be, they were robbed of one more game. They were robbed of a trip to where they were supposed to be in the Pop-Tart Bowl, I think, against BYU. I don't know off the top of my head where the Pop-Tart Bowl is, but still, they were robbed of those memories. So Marcus Freeman and the AD at Notre Dame, you failed. You failed hundreds of young adults. So Heisman folks, you failed Jacob Rodriguez, Marcus Freeman, and the Notre Dame brass. You failed hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds, if not thousands, of Notre Dame students, Notre Dame players, Notre Dame faculty, Notre Dame staff, Notre Dame fans, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, I'm sure, of Notre Dame fans that don't get to watch their team play one more time, that don't get to watch Jeremiah Love play one more time, that don't get to watch Jadarian Price play one more time, that CJ Carr, this could have been a developmental game, a game that he gets to play against a good BYU team, a team that had a serious argument at a playoff spot. And if you're Notre Dame and you are so entitled, we should have been in the playoff. You know how you prove you should have been in the playoff? You blow out BYU. You beat a team that was also on the cusp of making the playoff. You beat a team that was in the top 12 heading into the last week, then got wrecked by Texas Tech and the best defense in the country. You don't make a claim that, oh yeah, we actually deserve to be in. And we believe that so much that we're not going to play another game. You know what Florida State did when they got robbed and hosed back in 2023, when they went undefeated in the ACC and were left out of the college football playoff? They went out and played their bowl game. They lost by 60. Not ideal, but they went out and actually played. They said, we are going to stand on business. They lost, but they stood on business. They said, we are going to play the game. Notre Dame said, nah, we're too good for that. We're Notre Dame. So Notre Dame, you can screw off. Heisman folks, you can screw off. Goodbye.
Yeah, I thought it was incredibly, incredibly lame by Notre Dame. And my mom is a Notre Dame fan. She doesn't follow college football that closely, but when the first place she landed in the U.S. was South Bend, so I know that obviously she holds Notre Dame closer to her heart, but I cannot defend it. Last year, Syracuse did not make the college football playoff, but they were a top 25 team, and I mean Alex knows this too. They faced Washington State in a pretty competitive bowl game. These bowl games can be fun still. Yeah. And as someone who's gotten more and more into college football, I'll say one quick thing, which is enough with expanding it. I think 12 is perfect. Honestly, 12 might be too many. But I think I understand. I think Notre Dame maybe should have been in the playoff, but to just straight up, I mean, what about also your opponent? You're kind of leaving them out to dry. I think they're sending Georgia Tech. Is it Georgia Tech?
Georgia Southern plays Appalachian State in the some random bowl.
Because I know a 5-7 team got sent
State.
to a bowl game because of it.
Yeah. So I don't understand the opting out of bowl games. I
didn't even know you could do that.
The only time I'd ever heard of a team doing it was COVID stuff or injuries. COVID I get, or I know Boise State was supposed to play at a Frisco Bowl and it got canceled because of inclement weather in Frisco, Texas, and they just didn't replay it because it's not a major bowl game. But I think college football in a lot of ways is broken, and I think the conferences are a big reason why. Texas A&M, a top 10 team in the country. I'm not going to dispute that. They played one team in the top half of the SEC record-wise. Like, why do we need 16, 17, and 18 team conferences? Geography doesn't matter anymore. Why is Oregon?
Cal and Stanford is in the ACC.
Like, why is Oregon playing a conference game against Rutgers?
Same with UCLA.
Yeah.
And USC.
I don't get it. I don't. And I went into college football, the video game, last year's version. I got 4 undefeated Big Ten teams in one season because they just didn't play each other. Yeah. It was like UCLA, Ohio State, Minnesota, and like Wisconsin or something.
All right. Well, that actually not very realistic anymore.
No, but like, the point is that it's a really broken sport when you can have 4 teams go undefeated in a conference. Like 2 teams, sure. If it's like Alabama and Georgia, or growing up, it was Alabama and Florida once. Like, okay, fine, I get it. But they at least play in the SEC title game. But if I can fool around for 5 minutes on college football, the video game, and have 3 or 4 teams in a conference go undefeated, can we go back to like 12-team conferences, rebuild the Pac-12, make it mean something, and make these rivalries mean something. That, as someone who grew up in the South, and I hate Georgia, but I can acknowledge the great rivalries that Georgia has. It means something when it's Georgia Tech week. It means something when it's the world's largest outdoor cocktail party against Florida. Clean old-fashioned hate against Tech, like I said, means something. Yeah. The Deep South's oldest rivalry against Auburn means something. The Iron Bowl, Alabama, Auburn. No matter how good Alabama is, if they go to Jordan-Hare, they are a live bet to lose that football game. Doesn't matter if Auburn has me playing quarterback. They can lose.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and we didn't even talk about the joke that's the ACC, but I could talk for an hour about how awful the ACC was at football this year.
And then Virginia gets bailed out because their loss to NC State doesn't count as a conference loss.
Well, yeah, but they still lost a 5-loss Duke team.
I do wonder how the tiebreakers would have broken had that been the NC State game would have been a conference loss. I don't know. But college football is broken. Listen, it's a great sport. It's really popular. It's as popular as it's ever been. I understand that, but there's issues. And sometimes I wish I had a college football podcast to like complain about the issues, because there's a lot of great things, but there's a lot of cruddy things. All right. Who would like to go next?
I'll go next.
All right. 3, 2, 1, begin.
So I didn't get to talk about it today. I'm going to talk about it now. The trade of Harry Ford. Listen, it's been a few days now. I've had the full time to look at this trade, and the only thing that comes to my mind is that this trade is the definition of my depression. It is my emotions and my logic fighting against each other. Because I take a look at the trade, and just from the outset, not knowing anything about these players, right? Just looking at the needs that the two teams have, this makes perfect sense. Here, the Nationals are a young team that's trying to build for the future, and they wanted to get a great young catching prospect here that realistically was not going to get any playing time behind the dish in Seattle here, because we have Cal Raleigh. And Seattle is getting a left-handed arm that's one of the best ground ball artists in the game here, and it makes sense on that way. What hurts me and what I still can't get over my head on this is that you have now had Harry Ford in your system for so many years. Now, you were building him up here, and whether or not it was to be the catcher or potentially move him to another position like outfield, he was really fast. He could have been a good outfielder too. But no, you trade him, the 40th ranked prospect of Baseball America, and you trade him for a young left-handed reliever that last season had a 4.48 ERA and has a career 4.36 ERA. His ERA plus is under 100 at 95. And I get that, this is the kind of reliever that Seattle likes to go for. The sinker, slider, fastball guy, high velo. Yeah, it makes sense. All of it does make sense without context. The moment that you put the context back into this, it throws everything else away. I'm not saying that this is going to be the worst move of the free agency process here, or the offseason or anything like that here, but this is a move that just as a fan, you feel, what the hell? Seriously, this is a player that you have been rooting for years here to finally get their debut. We got to see a small smidgen of that back in the World Baseball Classic. We played for Great Britain and hit amazingly well and played pretty good defense here behind the plate too. There's a great story about him and Freddie Freeman here, where Freddie was one of the players he modeled his game after. And when there was finally an at-bat against Team USA, Freddie Freeman came out to the plate, and Ford didn't even know what to say or if to say anything. And Freddie just turns to him and goes, "Hey, how you doing?" This story hurts me. This trade physically hurt me. I also just feel you could have gotten more. I'm fully okay with trading Ford if what you got back wasn't just a reliever that has a lot of high upside, but also a lot of low downside. Here, the specs look great. Cool. Let's see him actually put it to some use. Let's see him actually get some good usage from it. Okay? If he can do that here, because, just take a look here. Last season, he appeared in 72 games, which is, that's a lot. That's almost half of a team's games. Here, with a 4.48 ERA and an ERA plus of 92. Man, I don't know. I feel so conflicted because it feels like on both sides it's wrong and right. The only thing I know for certain is that I hope he's going to do well in Seattle, and I want Harry Ford to be an all-star this year. I want him to be the starting catcher for the Nationals, and I want him to absolutely ball the hell out.
Look, it's tough to digest because, Ford does not have a starting spot in Seattle, like anywhere, really. And he is still highly ranked in prospect rankings, but like I said, he wasn't going to play every day in Seattle. The Nationals clearly are done with Keibert Ruiz. I thought he was going to be way better than he was, and he's just been a colossal disappointment. And Ferrer showed flashes of greatness, doesn't walk a lot of guys, doesn't give a lot of homers, throws hard. I actually think he'll do way better in Seattle than he did in Washington. Just purely from a pitching development standpoint, Seattle way better at that than the Nationals. So I think, honestly, the trade will probably end up working out for both sides. But Ford, I know there's some concerns. He doesn't hit the ball particularly hard. He hits the ball on the ground a lot. But I think he'll turn into a much better catcher than Keibert Ruiz. And I think Ferrer will turn into a solid high-leverage arm in Seattle. And he's already got closing experience. If you want to have Munoz rest the day, Ferrer can be that number 2 option or number 3 option if you still have Matt Brash.
Which I'm pretty sure we do still.
Yeah, you do.
But now I will say this trade does make Seattle's bullpen, if Ferrer shows to be what we think he can be here. If you have a back-end bullpen that's Andres Munoz, Matt Brash, Gabe Spire, Ferrer, I
forgot about Spire too. That's actually a much improved bullpen over what they had this year, because Caleb Ferguson was the number 2 lefty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Caleb Ferguson. Man, I wish he could have been at least.
And plus, Gabe Spire won't have to pitch every other day.
Finally. Anyway.
All right, Mac, I'll count you down. 3, 2, 1.
So end of an era in New York. I'm just gonna put it that way. It's just hard to process, really. I know that there's logic behind letting Alonso go and trading Nimmo. And yes, it hurts that Edwin Diaz kind of just spurned the Mets for the Dodgers, but his team's unrecognizable. Going into next year, Simeon's a new addition. They're maybe going to have Mark Vientos playing first base every day. Other than Lindor and Soto, this is going to be yes, Francisco Alvarez behind the plate and Brett Beatty at third base. But the team really is going to be unrecognizable next year. And there hasn't been a lifetime Met since David Wright. So going into next year, I really don't know what to expect. I'll say this to Mets fans. The season does not begin tomorrow. It is December 10th currently. There's still 2 months for David Stearns to salvage this offseason. So I know that right now everyone probably gives this offseason an F and will say that this is a 65-win team or whatever. But there's a long way to go. I think that Stearns is the right guy in charge. And I know that some will say he has a small market mindset, but I think really signing Soto last year proved otherwise. So I still have faith. They admitted basically that they weren't good enough this year. So they decided to completely change the core, and I'm expecting Jeff McNeil to be the next guy out. I guess I'm just trying to say keep the faith, and maybe I mean, there is going to be a silver lining to this. There is a lot of salary coming off the books, and hopefully they use that money wisely and make the right trades.
Hopefully they don't, and hopefully they go 1 in 161.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, if they were that bad, hopefully they just sweep the Phillies and go like 13 and 149 a year. That'd be nice.
They can beat the Phillies at Citi Field, not at Citizens Bank Park for some reason.
It'd be like that sometimes.
It do in fact be like that.
Any final words, fellas?
Nah, I think I've gotten out. I talked a little more than I was expecting to this time.
Same. Good job, Notre Dame. All right, well, that'll do it for today's episode of Losses Above Replacement. If you liked it, drop a like, drop a subscribe. We have a podcast. Hopefully you're listening to it. We have a YouTube channel. We have an Instagram, Losses Above Replacement, LAR_baseball. We have a Twitter at LAR_baseball. You can follow me at Mr. Splashman19. You can follow Alex at the Sports Guy 242. You can follow Mac at Mathias_A_K. And for all of us at Losses Above Replacement, I actually don't think there's anything we all agree on. So with that said, toodles.